Okay, so here we're continuing with hooks, and last time we looked at narrative hooks, and now we're going to look at hooks in general. This continues here on page 11. Move myself up here. We can more or less see what we need to see there. Okay, so the types of hooks are to use a interesting or shocking fact. That's always a good starter, and note the trend here, right? That it should be interesting or shocking. Those are definitely characteristics that you want in a good hook. Could be a fact, your hook could be an idea, your hook could be utilizing a statistic. You can use a quote, of course, personal experience. Number 6 is more reserved for narrative hooks. The use of in medias res, I would not suggest that for a traditional academic paper. And number 7 here is vivid description. That can always be a good hook. And number 8 there, it's okay that we don't see it because we don't need it. Rhetorical question is technically listed as a type of hook, but it is not an effective hook and certainly not one I would recommend using. Oh, there we see it. Okay. So let's take a look at some examples of effective hooks. Here's the use of statistic as a good opening. This is from the New York Times, an article called "You're Getting Very Sleepy." Inadequate sleep causes more than $400 billion in economic losses annually in the United States and results in 1.23 million lost days of work each year, researchers have found, right? So that's a very powerful statistic. That's certainly a large number. That's a lot of money. So that in itself makes it an interesting hook. That's a shocking amount of money. Here's the use of a shocking fact as a hook. On a chilly day in August 2016, more than 300 reindeer huddled for warmth dropped dead on a mountain plateau in Norway. They died by lightning. This was from an article called "100 of Reindeer Died by Lightning. Their Carcasses Became a Laboratory." And again, that's a very shocking occurrence. So that makes it an effective hook. The use of narrative here, the use of telling a story as a good hook. This is a personal story, right? This is from an article called "A Dwindling Catch Has Alaskans Uneasy." After just a few hours of letting the current comb through his net in the Copper River, Shane Cummings knew that something wasn't right. The article goes on to say, he wasn't catching any fish. That's kind of a weird thing in the Copper River in Alaska. That's a weird thing. So we have, after this, examples from all different fields and genres. This is probably one of my favorite openings of all time. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Succinct, classic, and a great use of a literary device that we're going to see, or a rhetorical device, I should say, that we're going to see later in the term. Some great examples of hooks in literature. Always Running by Luisa Rodriguez opens with, "This memory begins with flight. A 1950s Bondo Spackle Dodge surged through a driving rain, veering around the potholes and upturned tracks of the abandoned Red Line trains on Alameda." Okay, we'll skip through some of these. This is an interesting one. This is Marcia Aldrich's Hair. She starts it, "I've been around and seen the Taj Mahal and the Grand Canyon and Marilyn Monroe's footprints outside Grauman's Chinese Theater, but I've never seen my mother wash her own hair." And hair there takes on, in that essay, a more than a couple different meanings and significances. This is a great opening. This is Carlos Bulosan's "I Would Remember." I first saw death when I was a small boy in the little village where I was born. Right? We could go on and read the next sentence too, but just that one sentence, that opening there, is very dramatic. right? That's a very strong opening. This is another one of my favorite openings of all time. This is by a journalist. His name was David Halberstam. This is Who We Are, and it opens with one of the best 7-word openings I've ever read. The night before the world changed completely. I don't even have to read the rest. I know from right there that this is interesting. This is something I want to read and something I could hear more about. The night before the world changed completely. In that essay, he is talking about 9/11 and the effects of 9/11. Okay. And at this point, I would ask you in the class to take a few minutes to work on some hooks. Since this is for essay 2, what you'd want to do at this point is write at least 2, maybe even 3 hooks, and see which one you like the most. As you're going through any essay, that's a good strategy to use. Come up with a couple different hooks so that you have something to choose from. Thank you.